Right, good afternoon everybody and welcome to the Gabba. Look, from the outset, can I thank Gil and the AFL Commission. We know it was a very difficult decision, and can I also acknowledge all of Victoria at the moment and for the times that they are facing down there, and we will host the final here with the utmost respect. I just want to guarantee everybody that. And secondly, can I also thank Premier Daniel Andrews. I know he has just issued a statement. Daniel Andrews has been a very strong leader for Victoria during these challenging times, and I thank Daniel Andrews for his words of support and encouragement. And of course we acknowledge how important AFL is to Victorians, and Queensland will absolutely do our best to put on a show as we host the grand final here at the Gabba. I think we said in our pitch that we've got our own G here and it's called the Gabba, and I want to do a special shout out to Minister Kate Jones, to Tony Cochrane and Andrew Wellington that were with me at the presentation, and of course to our secret weapons, Ryden, Milan and Hamish. Here we go. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. So of course this is a very historic day. It's a historic day for the AFL, but it's a historic day for Queensland as well. And I do want to pay a special shout out to all Queenslanders as well, who have done a great job, especially as we've battled COVID as well. And if it wasn't for that strong health response and the fact that every Queenslander has been part of that, this would not have happened. So this is a win for Queensland as well, so to all Queenslanders out there. As part of this historic decision, we also know that there are huge opportunities here for legacy of the game, but also to grow AFL across Queensland, especially into regional markets. I got in trouble this morning for not mentioning Townsville, so can I say Cairns, Townsville and Mackay? And of course, with the hosting of the grand final on October the 24th, we will make sure that it is inclusive of Australia. We'll make sure that it's inclusive of Victoria, of the home place for the final, the MCG will be included as we bring the grand final here. But a great win for Queensland. I'm very honoured that the AFL has chosen Queensland. As Gil said, it was a very tough decision. We've worked hard on our COVID safe plans, but we also know how important this game is. We've hosted so many games here. I think by the end of the season it would have been 70 games. We have a strong COVID industry plan in place with the AFL that has been approved by the Chief Health Officer, and also and the work that has happened between Travis and the Deputy Premier, Stephen Miles, has been first class. So I'll hand over to Travis, and I'm quite sure that there's a few other people that want to speak, and as I can say, we're absolutely delighted, we're over the moon. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're not going to let anyone down. Thanks,
Thank you, Premier. I just listened to Gil give a really clear explanation for the decision and the basis of it, so I won't go through that again. I think what I'd like to do is take some questions in relation to the decision. Before I do want to reiterate on behalf of the AFL that our appreciation for the support from the Queensland Government, led by the Premier and Minister Kate Jones. Without that support, it is not an overstatement to say that we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be in a position to talk about a grand final, and to stand here on the Gabba now and think that in 8 weeks' time we're bouncing the ball for a grand final is a pretty exciting moment, and one you wouldn't have imagined 6 months ago. So thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Travis, outside the hub, it was obviously documented this morning, you put in a mountain of work with the Premier on this pitch, speaking to Queensland in relation to it. From your perspective, what was the key factor that made you recommend Queensland, obviously to Gil and indeed the Commission? Yeah,
Tom, we outlined the criteria. There's 5 key items in that criteria. I think, as Gil said, that the submissions were incredibly strong. We're very grateful that we had strong interest from each of the 4 states that presented. made the decision incredibly difficult. I think that the outstanding feature, I think there's two probably for Queensland. One is the partnership we established. When we put our hand up for some help, Queensland Government was there for us, and that help and that support has continued through to today, and I'm no doubt it'll continue well beyond the grand final this year. Our players, our coaches, our people have really enjoyed the environment. There is some high performance facilities here in Queensland. I'm sure other sports are watching and seeing that opportunity. And so I think that's a great opportunity for the state. And also there's a great opportunity for our game. We talk about the legacy. Obviously we've got an event in Brisbane at the Gabba, but this is bigger than that. There's a festival leading into the day, and it goes well beyond 24 October. And that's something that we want to capitalise on in one of our key growth markets.
Gil mentioned money. Was Queensland the highest bidder financially?
Look, I don't want to talk about specifics in terms of the commercial negotiation, but I think I was pretty clear just then in the sense of the one outstanding feature and the one thing that we've really valued with Queensland is the partnership. And that partnership extends well beyond any financial contribution, and it's something that we won't forget for a long time.
I think there was a mention of crowd size of about 30,000. Can you give us a ceiling that you would like to see, and at what point, if we had to start dropping that, would you think about shifting it to Adelaide?
Yeah, so to be specific, we've agreed on a crowd of 30,000 is the number, and we've got to work out how we do that with a COVID-safe plan, and so we've started those discussions leading into this decision in case we got to where we are today. We're extremely confident, as are the government, that we'll get that 30,000 come October the 24th, and we'll, like we have with everything to date, work closely with them leading up to that event.
Travis, I know Gil spoke to this briefly, but you're the fixturing boss. What's your view on the preliminary finals and the preliminary finals in Queensland part of this deal?
No, it's not part of the grand final deal that we just announced. We will look at our broader finals policy over the next week or so time. Obviously, there's the events leading up to the preliminary final. Gil talked about the possibility of a final in Perth, and that's something we look at. Port Adelaide are doing very well. They've got opportunity to host some finals there, and so in an ideal outcome, I think certainly a number of states would get to host finals before we get to the grand final.
Decision on the Brownlow as yet?
So we've talked about the Brownlow. In fact, in Queensland's bid, they offered to support the Brownlow, as did the Gold Coast City Council, which we're very appreciative of. We just need to think about how we do that and in what form we do it under COVID-safe plans, and so we'll come back to you on that one pretty soon.
You talk about legacy, Travis. How can the grand final help the code go forward in Queensland beyond this year?
Yeah, there's a component of the discussions, Michael, where we have talked about some legacy opportunities where we work together, and that's about boys and girls playing the game. Essentially, we've got unbelievable demand in this state, particularly from young girls who want to participate, and we won't want to take that opportunity away from them. And so, some really basic things that it doesn't start now. It's been going for some time with this government, but where we can invest money in facilities to give everyone an opportunity to participate.
Travis, on a Brownlow date, is that flexible as well, or are you looking straight up to the previous season?
Yeah, it'll be largely dependent on the format of the Brownlow. So like everything else this year, we've got to think about things a little differently. We know it won't be in Melbourne, and so we need to work out whether we run it as an event with people attending, and we'll work closely with the Queensland Government again on how that might occur. That will influence the date of the Brownlow.
Travis, what's the Queensland Government said to you about half-time entertainment? What's your view on that, particularly under lights? What are you working towards?
First, I'm incredibly excited by the opportunity of the night grand final and what you might be able to do. We've had some discussions about what that might look like. I think the one thing we would say is we want something that speaks to Queensland. This is not about playing a Melbourne event in Brisbane. This is about talking to Queensland, everything Queensland has to offer, and I think you'll see that come through as we start to build out what the overall event looks like.
The Gabba's still undergoing a bit of a refurbishment. Are there any conditions on the completion of that? Do you need to see certain elements of it done in order for the
No, I mean, those works will be completed fairly soon. You would have seen some when you walked in today. It's really just absolute coincidence that they were done in time for what will now be a grand final event. The facilities for fans have been enhanced through bars and catering offerings, and so those that are lucky enough to get a ticket on grand final day will be the beneficiaries of that investment.
And on ticket allocation, will that be different to a normal grand final? How will that?
Yeah, we need to work through this one. I mean, we've got sort of proportional estimates based on what we normally do at the MCG, and whether we can lift that up and use something similar here. What I would say, because I don't have the specifics today, is that we'll continue to prioritise members, getting members access, and if Brisbane makes the grand final, then good luck having enough tickets for the Brisbane members, but we'll have to see who makes the grand final and how we best allocate tickets with a membership base that we've got in this state.
Last ones, thanks.
Oh, can we ask the Premier?
Yeah, I'll step away in a moment. Yeah. Sorry.
I was going to ask the question.
Yeah, I'll jump out. Thank you.
Premier, how much money did the government put on the table for
That's
this?
commercial in confidence, but we weren't in a bidding competition. This was about who could work the best with the AFL to deliver not just the grand final, but a lasting legacy program as well. And that's what I said very clearly about including our regions and making sure that we are very respectful. And I hope Victorians also think we have been very respectful during these times as well.
Do Queenslanders have a right to know how much we did spend on securing the grand final though?
Well, it's commercial in confidence.
It's taxpayers' money.
Yeah, but this happens for a whole range of events.
Premier, at any point in the negotiations,
The government will come out on top overall.
Yes, absolutely. We expect that this will inject over $18 million into the Queensland economy.
Premier, at any point in the negotiations, was there an offer put on the table to open the border with New South Wales so that the corporates can get in at all?
No.
And when do you expect to have that chat with Gladys Berejiklian this morning?
Sorry?
After
Oh, we're having a chat this afternoon. Okay.
What do you expect?
All right. Thank you.
Have you been
Premier,
returning
thank you.
calls? She's saying
Thank
you're
you.
not returning
That's
calls.
ridiculous. She hasn't made any calls.
Premier, just will this likely impact your decision on borders? Obviously, you want to certainly protect the COVID status as it is, so
Yep.
you maintain this. Does
It's
having
making
this
no
30,
change
24
at all.
So is that likely now to be pushed out beyond the date of this grand final?
Sorry?
Change to the border restrictions. is that
So
likely to
we
push
said they're reviewed at the end of every month, and that's what's happening.
So is it foreseeable, Premier, that Adelaide fans or Perth fans, if their team is participating, could attend the grand final?
Adelaide can already come here. Yeah, so South Australia's already open. Yeah. Okay, and we're open to Western Australia, and we're open to Tasmania, and we're open to Northern Territory.
Premier, we're going to get some entertainment. Will you put a call in Powderfinger?
Oh, actually, I had been thinking about that. So, if Bernard's out there listening, we'll do a shout out. Thank you.